You're listening to Thunderquack Podcast Network. This is the Thunderquack Podcast, the official podcast of Thunderquack Podcast Network, where anything can happen. So strap yourselves in and hold on to your butts. It's Thunderquack time!
Hello and welcome back to the Thunderquack Podcast, the official podcast of thunderquack.com, which you can get early every Tuesday over at patreon.com/thunderquack, just like our Patreon producers JJ Samuel and Brian Murowski do. Or you can wait and get it late every Friday on podcast services across the galaxy. I am one of your hosts, Michael Cohen. Did I say Friday? I didn't say Friday, did I?
I don't.
You weren't listening. You just tuned me out.
Because I was so excited that you did the new intro with like the Patreon producers. I thought that was pretty cool.
We're keeping it.
I know. It's great.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
It's so good. Oh yeah, I'm Amanda Conkin. I mean, because I thought you paused because you were going to introduce yourself as me or something. I was like, what did you mess up?
No.
Right? Like it was your name that you paused before.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm Amanda Conkin, your other host. And
you can get the podcast on Fridays. That's important. It's important to know that.
Yes, on Fridays.
Look, listen, all right? The Snyder Cut is happening.
What?
And last week on the uncut version of the podcast, which hey, not that many people really in the grand scheme of things, a very small fraction of our audience actually gets the uncut version.
And we had a whole conversation about it.
In which I said, this is probably not a thing. Maybe we're going to get it, but, come on.
Because it was a late week last week, you had to post the episode on the day that we found out that it was happening. Yeah. And I remember you messaging me being like, hey, so that didn't, or you didn't message me, you tweeted that.
I tweeted it, yeah.
And it made me then look at my Twitter feed because I hadn't been paying attention to the news of the day. And then it was just so nice to be, I'm never on top of things. We've been podcasting for 8-9 years? And I'm always the one that shows up and is like, I don't know what's happening in the world.
The record is going to show that you have said that phrase in reference to a scenario such as this on multiple occasions. And so much like a person who always apologizes for being late, at a certain point, stop apologizing for being late. You're not sorry that you're late. You are just a person who is late all of the time. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying a hypothetical person.
A hypothetical person.
Yeah, and that's not being passive aggressive. I would call you out. I think everybody knows that I would just call you out if that's how I felt. No, but I think in the same way, you can't keep saying that you are never on top of things.
Yeah, when sometimes I am.
I'm on top of things this time. It's no, you're on top of certain things.
I guess very specifically, yes, there are things that are right up my alley that I probably am more attuned to, such as the Justice League Snyder Cut. So because I'm very excited about it.
I did talk about this a little bit with Aaron Golden on the Quarantine Zone episode that just went up. Actually, I just posted it this morning as of recording, so yesterday as of release, as of early release, Monday as of regular release.
You could have just said Monday and covered all of your bases there. I could
have. Don't question my methods, man.
It's all good.
So I did talk about it a little bit, but I definitely want to get your take on the reality of what the Snyder Cut is going to be, and also just to state for the larger audience that listens to the regular podcast, the original flavor podcast. This is not going to be a good movie. Is it going to be better than Justice League? Of course it is. But paper dolls acting out the rest of the story would be better than what the Joss Whedon Justice League gave us, because that movie is a train wreck. It's a nightmare. Like in some instances, like it's literally fueled by nightmare juice when you look at Henry Cavill's face, one of the most beautiful human beings I think to ever grace this earth.
Oh, yes.
And they just digitally massacre his face the entire film.
Yeah.
For the whole thing. So like point one, that it's going to be better than that, because I don't have to see Superman's face moving in odd ways that don't look human.
So I didn't realize that they reshot all of his stuff.
Yes.
I thought they reshot some of his stuff, but that was like a game changing to me, and I didn't find that out until last week. Like, I knew that they refilmed a lot, but I didn't know that there was like a black suit. There's all this stuff. If you're interested in an awesome Justice League,
it's a different
get
movie.
Excited. It's a completely different movie.
So here's one of the things that I don't know if you've got this info, Amanda. Green Lantern is rumored to be introduced in this film.
Yeah. I feel, again, I was getting all these tidbits of awesome stuff last week while this was all coming in, and it was all just like super. Somebody was saying something about Deathstroke even, or somebody.
Yeah,
like,
the original post credit scene is a different scene. So I oh man, what's his name? Brad from How I Met Your Mother. Good gravy, I can't.
Reference completely lost on me.
Oh really? Did you not watch How I Met Your Mother?
I didn't finish watching How I Met Your Mother because it got real, like, not worth finishing, in my opinion. So,
well, no, Brad is in, like, season 1.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, come on. I can't believe that I'm blanking on his name, but as I get older, this happens more and more. He's got to be in the credits because he is in the original post-credit scene. Maybe he's all the way down at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm
it's
really
like
sorry.
I can see it in my in front of my face, but I can't read it. It's like when you're in a dream and you try to read something and it's like it's not actually there. Good gravy. There's a lot of people in this.
Joe Manganiello. Okay, see,
yeah,
I knew that's who it was, though.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you had just said Deathstroke, Deathstroke.
Yeah.
He's Deathstroke in my main. I know who that is.
Yeah. So,
and also like the werewolf from, and like Magic Mike. Oh my God, there were so many other things that you could have referenced besides How I Met Your Mother. I thought it was him. In my brain, I was like, surely he wasn't on How I Met Your Mother. I do not remember him on How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, I'll jog your memory real quick. He is Marshall's friend from law school. That when Marshall is broken up with Lily in the second season, and he wants to go for brunch, that they go for brunch together. The two of them go on like mandates and have brunch. Man.
I do not remember How I Met Your Mother, I guess, because it is not.
No, you
the
don't.
only thing I do remember Alexis Denisov because I remember his character.
Yeah.
But like, maybe I have this selective. But I like hypothetically, I have vague recollections of Marshall wanting to go for brunch and then having somebody that goes for brunch with. But I think at the time, that actor, like, because I always butcher his last name. I'm just going to call him Joe because I butchered his last name. He wasn't on my radar, so I probably didn't clock him as like an important, like, I didn't like recognize him, right?
Fair.
So that's why.
So he, I think it was like an Instagram story or something like that. He basically posted like, I really hope everybody gets to see the original post-credit scene that we shot because it kicks ass, basically, is what he said. And the implication is that he fights Batman. Like that, it's not just him on a speedboat walking up and saying to Lex Luthor, "Let's be bad guys," which is just it's awful. But
let's be bad guys.
Yeah,
is that what happens in Justice League?
Well, he doesn't say "let's be bad guys," but it's he steps off of a speedboat, like this little speedboat, onto a yacht, and then walks over, and it's revealed that bald Lex Luthor, is sitting there, and it's like, wait, you're supposed to be in jail or something. Like that's how we feel. It doesn't matter what Deathstroke says. He says something about like we're gonna put your plan into motion or some vaguely nefarious thing. We're gonna be bad guys. Like let's be bad guys. And then we cut to like somebody else in his jail cell that's not Lex Luthor, right?
Right. I need to read. I do kind of, and I know that it's not great, but I actually have this like real big hankering to rewatch Batman v Superman and then the Justice League. Hey, do you want to know what Joe Manganiello, or however you say his last name is? His name is
Just say Manganiello.
Manganiello. Do you know what his character's name is in Magic Mike XXL?
Well endowed Pete. I don't know.
Basically, his name is Big Dick Richie.
There you go.
It's just so great. Well endowed Pete.
I did. So they're male exotic dancers. Like,
have you watched it?
No, I have no, and it's a blind spot. I know that like I would actually love them because all of the actors in both Magic Mike movies are actors that I love. Like, and Channing Tatum might be a surprise to a lot of people, but I do like legitimately love every single movie that I have seen starring Channing Tatum, with the exception of G.I. Joe, which is the first movie that I ever saw him in. I have loved. He is a great actor, particularly a great comic actor. I think he's like in the 21 Jump Street movies.
Jump Street. Yeah, he's actually quite. Yeah, he's actually quite funny. And so here I'm gonna sell many people listening on Magic Mike XXL, because it was one of the greatest things that ever happened. Was all my cynical friends, who you are aware of, all my friends, Mike, that
I know who you're talking about.
I had all of these people over, and we were just like hanging out one like afternoon, and I was like, let's watch Magic Mike XXL, and they're like, sure, let's razz it the whole time. And so I put it on thinking, because like me and my girlfriends were like, this is gonna be fun. The guys enjoyed it so much because it's basically the XXL version is a road trip with a bunch of dudes across America. Like, granted, they're road tripping to be able to go to a stripper convention or like a stripper competition, but it's just about a bunch of guys talking about their insecurities and talking about their relationship troubles. And it was just this like great, like emotionally like relevant movie. And the guys, like at the end of it, they were like, that was weirdly entertaining. So if you have a lady friend who's interested in watching a movie, I would say don't poo-poo watching Magic Mike XXL. There's something for everyone in that movie. It is grand. So, and they're like, honestly, they only dance for like, they're hot enough throughout the rest of the movie. Oh my gosh. The best part is when Joe, who again, I already forgot his last. It's Manganiello. Does this dance in a gas station? It is so funny. Anyways, I highly recommend. Oh man, I really want to rewatch this movie now that I'm talking about it. It's so great.
It's been on my list for a long time of as a blind spot, because I know so many people talk so highly about both movies, and that they're not necessarily what I think most people assume that they are. So
and like the first one less so than the second one. Like the second one I think is just a little funner. The first one is like pretty emotional and it's all like I'm angsty, but they're written from a guy's point of view, so there's like that as well, like which makes it connect to male audiences, I think, in a way that is unexpected.
Well, I think because I'm pretty sure he produced them, and I'm pretty sure that like
they're based on his life.
They're autobiographical.
So that's what I mean. It comes from a very like genuine place about what it's like to be a male stripper and like the people that you like are like working with. Anyways,
So speaking of male strippers, I guess I'll go back into Justice League. So the details for those who don't know, it's coming in 2021, and it will either be a 4-hour movie, which is a huge red flag, or it will be a 6-part miniseries, which is fine if it's a 6-part miniseries, if it's constructed as a 6-part miniseries. If it is a movie that is literally just
chopped up into 6 parts, that's not how you do that.
That's a problem. Yeah. So, look, I do actually like legitimately love Zack Snyder. I think that he is a great filmmaker. I think that what Zack Snyder needs is a great screenwriter to pair with, and a producer to keep him in check. Like, I think like on both ends of that spectrum, he needs a little bit more structure. And with the DCEU stuff, I think that he's been given a little bit too much free reign. I think one of the reasons why Man of Steel is as good as it is has a lot to do with those two elements. It did have good writers attached to it, and it also had Nolan as an executive producer who was there to kind of, I think, keep Zack Snyder in check a little bit, and Nolan sort of stepped back once Batman came back into the picture, and it started growing into this other thing. So like that, those are kind of the missing pieces, right? But I mean, ultimately what DC needs more than anything is a singular unified vision. It's the same thing that Star Wars needs, right? Like it's like really DC and Star Wars have the same problem. The difference is just that I think the source material for Star Wars is a lot more prescriptive than the source material for DC, because with DC, it's like if you say to me, hey, you can go make a Superman movie and it can be anything you want it to be. You just have to base it on an existing Superman property. I can go, okay, cool. I'm going to base it on Superman Earth 1, which is a very like, it's actually very much what Man of Steel is. So like you do that, right? Or I could do it based off of Superman the Animated Series, which is very much like sort of in my opinion, one of the best interpretations, because that's the animated Bruce Timm universe, right? Because it kind of hits all of the right notes. But honestly, if I had free reign and an unlimited budget and like do whatever, like my Superman movie would look a lot like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, because it would be based on the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons, because that to me is like core Superman, right? Like I would just want to bring actual character to those types of stories, because they're very much they're serials, right? They're just animated serials. So it's just they're flying robots, and now Superman has to stop them and rescue Lois. But yeah, like that just goes to show, like the point that I'm illustrating is that just with one character, here are 3 places to draw from and create a foundation that you're going to build your movie on. And what has happened with the DCEU, as opposed to what's happened with Star Wars, which kind of has a singular foundation in the original trilogy, is that like you get into Batman v Superman and you've got, okay, we've got a Superman that's very much based on sort of the modern telling of Superman, right? Like it's a lot of this like post-crisis Smallville, Earth 1, like just the modern era of Superman, right? And then pushing that forward. And then you bring Batman into the DCEU, and he's not from that same era, from what a lot of people would consider the modern era of DC, right? He is actually based on the 1980s Frank Miller version of Batman, which is discordant with the modern era of Superman. Like these two things do not match. They don't go together. And then we're going to bring in the Flash that is intentionally distinguished from the Flash that's on TV by giving him super autism, which is a trope that I absolutely despise. Because it's like Big Bang Theory, it sensationalizes autism into like this idiosyncratic superpower that gives you the ability to count matchsticks but also predict what your bad guys are going to do, right? Like it's a lazy writer's way to unexplain Deus Ex Machina genius, right? And that's exactly what Ezra Miller's Flash is, which doesn't make any sense in any of this other stuff. Like it's a very like light-hearted, silly version. And then Jason Momoa's Aquaman, who is one character in Justice League, in Batman v Superman, another character in Justice League, and then another character in Aquaman.
Right.
Like,
yeah, they don't. Yeah, it really is. He's at the
none
whims
of it makes
kind
any
of
sense,
forward.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's there are so many continuity errors and plot holes and whatever. The only character who vibes with the original intent, I think, is Wonder Woman, who is very much based on one of the more recent runs of the Wonder Woman comics, and that matches up with the Man of Steel Superman. Like those two characters actually gel really well, which is I think why their 2 movies are 2 of the best ones in the DCEU. And then on top of that, like, we got Social Network Lex Luthor, who is just god awful.
He's not. It's not the best, is it?
I said
Not
this
the
in
best.
the conversation with Aaron that's in that Quarantine Zone episode. He, for my money, he is the absolute worst interpretation of Lex Luthor that has ever been put out. Comics, cartoons, movies, whatever. It doesn't matter. He is the worst version. And it's not even a close contest. Like, there isn't
Right,
even like
yeah.
but this one is also pretty bad. Nope. Lois and Clark. Which, like, Lois and Clark is probably one of the, like, corniest, cheesiest versions of
And because it's on purpose too.
Superman,
Like,
right?
yeah.
That Lex Luthor, way better. Way better. Like, leagues better. Like, that's a Lex
pretty
Luthor.
good, yeah.
He doesn't, he's not even bald in Lois and Clark, right? Like, that's like it's the 90s, like, he's got the flowing mane of hair. No, he way better Lex Luthor, right? like any, you could name any other version of Lex Luthor and I would be like, yep, I prefer that to Jesse Eisenberg's not acting as a character but just being himself, the same character that he is in every movie he's in. Justice League and Batman v Superman are full of so many problems. There is not a lot of hope that the Snyder Cut is going to somehow save the train wreck. I don't think that it can. That said, like, I can't wait. I am so excited for more content with Henry Cavill as Superman.
Oh yeah.
I want to see what the original intent was. I'm infinitely curious, just from a film scholar standpoint of, like, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
How different is this? And then being able to compare the two films side by side is going to be, it's going to be a very singular, unique experience. But, like, I think there will also be surprises, and I do think that Zack Snyder now has the benefit of hindsight, as if he got to release his movie and then go back and fix it. So it's like George Lucas doing the special edition, having never released Star Wars, right? Like,
right.
But in, like, a weird paradox where he did release Star Wars and knows what everybody loves and everybody hates, but still gets to go back and make the special edition. So yeah, like, it's gonna be really interesting to see how it turns out. If giving him a little bit more rope actually ends up being a better product. Because like, the ability to not decide, it's such a weird announcement, and it's one of those things where I think they were getting so close and it was leaking everybody was talking about it, that they were like, we just got to announce it, we just have to.
Because otherwise people wouldn't, like,
when they haven't decided, is it a film, is it a miniseries? It's going to be a miniseries, and the reason why I say that is the same reason why Disney is doubling down on Star Wars as Disney Plus projects, and why they're telling a lot of the MCU stories on Disney Plus. They own the platform, which means they get all the profit. HBO Max is a Warner Brothers platform. So, like, they're cutting out middleman with that. Like, they're just going straight to direct to consumer, which is, I think, is a positive thing. I think it's awesome. But because I think it means that we're going to get more value. So it's better for the consumer. Yes, it does cut out movie theaters. It does cut out Blockbuster, which doesn't exist anymore. But, like, it does cut out Best Buy. It does cut out etc. But I think that those are, movie theaters aren't dying. They're changing. But Best Buy is dying. Like, I don't think in 10 years we're going to have big box electronics stores like that anymore. But when you have a streaming platform, you want people to subscribe and you want them to stick around for a minute. And The Mandalorian does that for Disney Plus, right? It gets people in there, and because they didn't put it all out at once, they did it week by week. You were there every week to watch The Mandalorian, and by the end of that 8-week cycle, it was like, well, there's other stuff on Disney Plus for me to check out as well. Maybe now that I know that this connects into Star Wars Rebels, I'll watch that. Maybe I'll watch the Clone Wars, and then and so they've got
you
this
just keep going through stuff.
The sort of train of like, well, here's another new thing, here's another new thing, here's another new thing.
Yeah, it just makes more sense for it to be a series.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think from a financial standpoint, it makes a lot of sense for them to do it that way. I also think a 4-hour movie is gonna suck.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I don't want to sit through a 4-hour movie. I would rather sit through 6 50-minute episodes of a miniseries.
Or heck, I mean, The Mandalorian was 32 minutes, 38 minutes, 42
it was
minutes,
whatever it needed to be.
Whatever it needs to be. And so if they can find that groove with Justice League, like do it, lean into it. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that could happen is that the DCEU transitions from big screen films, and this is not going to be exclusive in the same way that the MCU is not exclusive anymore. The MCU is the cinematic universe. Cinematic doesn't mean theatrical release. Cinematic means that's the scope that we're telling the story in, right? So Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be what it's going to be. It is a movie for all intents and purposes. It's just a longer movie that they're going to release in an episodic format, right? But when it comes to the quality and it comes to the story that they're going to tell, like it's going to be no different than a theatrical release on that level, right? And I think that if DC can figure that out and get in that game, I think that the risk reward is a lot less. The higher yield, I guess, is the better way to say it. Because HBO Max also has their Green Lantern show in the works, right? I don't know where that's at because of COVID-19, but it's something that was in production and expected in like pretty soon. And now we're gonna go back and do the Snyder Cut, which is rumored to introduce the Green Lantern. So I don't know if they're going to use the same guy, or like they might have to reshoot some stuff if that wasn't the same actor, or I don't know how far they got with that. But if Green Lantern is going to be in the Snyder Cut, you can rest assured it will be the Green Lantern from the HBO Max Green Lantern series, right? Which we actually got teased in Crisis on Infinite Earths. When we see Oa, that's meant to be the Earth that HBO Max series is taking place on. So that part of the multiverse. So so I think there's an opportunity for them to it'll be interesting because it'll mean that they'll have two TV based DC universes going at the same time. Because they've got the CW one and then they'll have this HBO Max one, but also like, who cares? We just went through Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the audience gets it. I think, and the Flash, Ezra Miller, showed up in that.
Oh yeah,
it's all connected, right? So
so good. I'm so excited.
I don't know. I think that if DC and AOL Time Warner specifically can get out of their own way and let the creatives do the job, that we could end up with something cool at the end of this. I don't think that Snyder Cut will be the cool thing. I think that where we end with it is going to be the door that it opens is what I'm looking forward to. And a world where we can say Henry Cavill is still Superman when we want to tell Superman stories with that character, right? Yeah. And Ben Affleck might be out and Robert Pattinson is in for the Batman, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that these two things have to, because here's something that they could do with the $20 million that they've been it's $20 to $30 million that they've been given to complete the Snyder Cut. They could put a button on Batman's story. He, in that timeline, already felt like he was at the end of his journey, right? Yeah. He's coming out of retirement to deal with Superman and screws up in Batman v Superman. And if you give him a redemption story in the Snyder Cut and let him assemble the League, right, which is his story in that, and then walk away from it at the end and go, I don't need to be Batman anymore. Right. In the same way, like very similar to The Dark Knight, where the Christian Bale Batman is very much like I did it. I saved Gotham. Maybe in less of a bummer way of like, I'm done giving my life for this city that doesn't care about me. But like in a way of like, we did it. The Justice League exists now. We have all of these heroes, and there are more heroes in the world that are like coming together. So it's like Batman did his job, but now by doing his job and bringing the League together, he's created a world where that doesn't need the Batman anymore. Right. Like he's an old fashioned type of superhero that's going to punch people until they give him the information that he needs. And it's like, that's not the world that Superman and Wonder Woman want to live in. Right. So like, let's hand it off and say, okay, that Batman is retired in this universe. That's fine. I think that would actually be a really cool take on it and a really great way to button that up. But we'll see next year, 2021, unless it gets pushed because they decide they want to film stuff. But yeah.
Cool.
Do you have anything else to say about the Snyder Cut, or do you want to?
I don't, because we talked a lot about different things. I'll just be excited for it, and I'm actually really excited for finishing up Endgame today. So I'm happy to shift over into some other stuff that tides me over until the DCEU is ready to be completely realized.
As long as whatever happens facilitates Birds of Prey being an HBO Max series with the cast from Birds of Prey. That would be sweet. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want more stories with those amazing women, because that movie is the best one in the DCEU. So, cool. Let's take a quick break for ads, and then we'll be back to talk about Endgame. Okay, the third and final act of Avengers Endgame. While we talk and get ready to jump into this, gear up, get yourself ready. At the timestamp is 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 26 seconds. So I'm gonna give everybody a second to make sure that they're there. Before we get into. I don't know. Is it the best part? Are we ranking the three acts?
Maybe we already had sort of.
Yeah. So. This is going to be interesting because this is going to be a lot of action to talk over, but it's also going to. I don't know how I'm gonna react on this one. I don't know because the almost every time that I've watched the end of this movie, I have had an emotional reaction to the fact that Tony Stark dies. We'll see if it happens. I can kind of feel it already. This is not going to be good. Okay, I think we're ready. Are you ready?
I am hovering over the play button right now.
It's going to be 3, 2, 1, and then hit play when I say play. Okay. Cool. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Beautiful.
We're just putting together the stones.
The gauntlet.
Yeah.
I love. What did you call it? It's the Iron Gauntlet or something?
No, this is the Nano Gauntlet.
Nano Gauntlet.
That's what it's called because it's the nanotech armor.
Cool. I love Rocket, but these are like the three smartest people. Hey, like Rocket and Iron Man and the Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah. It took Peter Dinklage to build the first gauntlet, and then it takes the three of them to build the second gauntlet.
Right. Yeah.
Eitri, I think, was his name. The
I think you're right. Aw. It's so sad to watch Thor. He does get. Aw.
Yeah.
Aw. It just it needs to be Hulk. It's so good. So I just watched the first Avengers last weekend. This weekend? This last.
Yeah, you're
I
doing a
hadn't-
horrible job of following along with our chronological rewatch, but yeah.
I am. I'm very sorry. But I hadn't seen it in so long, and it's so awesome to just see the evolution of these characters,
Yeah.
like from that to this, and just like how far they've come. And what you were talking about last week was what I was thinking about, that Thor is just such a different character in those first movies.
Yeah.
Just in how he looks and in his actions, and he just has so much gravitas here. But also that the Hulk is kind of, because that was like one thing my mom said. She's like, the Hulk can't be killed, and I was like, well, I guess. But it's like, it's part of what he says, right? Like he was made for this, and he couldn't. It's the brilliance of it being like this version of like Banner Hulk, right, or whatever he's called. That it wouldn't be okay if it was just him by himself. I didn't see that she has her hand wrapped up.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see that there's the like metal on it. Right.
It's important. It's important stuff.
Yeah. This movie this part just gets right into it. This is a great act.
Yeah.
If you're just going to do nothing, just watch this third act with us, man. It's like you can just dive into this and get like the majority of the movie. Like, oh, look at them all suiting up. And this
I like Rocket just hides behind Thor.
Yeah, he's like protecting Rocket, so it's good. Has he ever used this weird shield thing before?
He does a different type of shield in Infinity War, but remember that it's been 5 years.
Yeah. Why don't they have Nebula with them? Like, it seems odd that they would have just like not.
It's an intentional oversight, right? It's not a plot hole. It's just like they're ready and they're raring
and they're
to
just
go.
they're just gonna do it without her.
And she's a hero now, right? So
so they don't care. And
nobody's thinking like, hey, where's Nebula? And nobody asks that question because they don't think to be suspicious of her. Remember that other than Rocket, nobody else here has the context of the fact that she was a villain. Right.
I guess so. And
they know it intellectually, but they don't.
Yeah.
Right. Like imagine if Gamora were there, she would be like, wait, where's Nebula?
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Because because I don't think that Gamora would ever really be able to trust Nebula, right?
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So here comes Thanos with his ship.
This is my biggest oversight is he doesn't have the time travel juice. How does he get there?
Yes, he does, because he has one of her vials. Thanos has intergalactic space technology magic, right?
They just remake it or whatever?
Yeah, between him and the Maw, they're able to reverse engineer it. And remember, it's time travel.
Gotcha.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they, from the minute that she left and then they come through, like they could have had time to deal with it.
Okay, fine. That's fair.
That stuff that he sprays on the Hulk's arm is actually from Avengers Age of Ultron. It's the stuff that Vision was made out of. If you remember the synthetic skin or flesh or whatever.
Yeah.
Tony actually used it, and it's the only reason that he survived the fight with Thanos, because he uses it immediately after Thanos leaves to fill the hole that Thanos leaves with his own spike.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense. I kind of wondered how he survived that.
Yeah.
This is also a little bit like Laura doesn't know that he's gone. Like, wouldn't she take longer to just like call around the farm to see where he is?
Also, her cell phone is still active after 5 years. But but it doesn't matter. We got to move this story forward, right? We need something to let us know it worked, because we're supposed to be going like, for a second you forget that Thanos just came through. Right. Like we just saw that, and then we immediately forget it because it's like it worked.
Yeah.
And then
it just gets destroyed.
Everything gets crushed. And the most important part here is that we're gonna break the team back up, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna separate the Avengers, because Thanos against all of them, I don't know how, I didn't count how many were there, but everybody who's left. Maybe he's gonna have a hard time. Thanos against the three main Avengers is a little bit more understandable, right? So we're gonna break it up, and it also gives us multiple planes of action, which is what you want in an action sequence like this.
Yeah. That's a brilliant like canopy. Did he say that in any other episodes, or
no?
That's just
no.
But
like it's a it's a callback to the fact that he is a pilot, right?
Right. Yeah. So he has a.
This is one of my favorite moments for his character, for Rhodey's character, because it reminds us that it's not the suit. It's the thing that Tony says to Peter in Homecoming, right? Like if you need the suit, then you don't deserve it, sort of thing.
Right. That it's only like without the suit that
the
he's
suit's busted.
Yeah.
But he still gets out of the suit, knowing that he doesn't have full use of his legs because he's got to save Rocket, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's brilliant.
It's just showing what kind of a hero he actually is.
I guess I should have talked to more people that are Hawkeye fans, but I feel like this movie does a good job of like giving Hawkeye things to do.
Yeah.
Like he's very well featured, I think, in this movie, which I think because I'm not a huge Hawkeye, like I wasn't overly mad that he wasn't in the previous movie. I think they well enough make up for it in this movie. But I don't know. I'd be curious what other people's opinions are. But I think that they really honored him as a straight up character because, and I will say again, it's just like watching stuff with my dad while he's watching the first Avengers. He's like, doesn't he only have like 16 arrows? How is he doing this? It was really funny because it's sort of like it's fair. It's a fair criticism of Hawkeye's
except
character.
that like there's tech and stuff in all of his arrows. So like you see arrows that like that are little nubs that turn into full size arrows. So it's like there's only however many
like slots in the quiver or whatever.
Yeah, like there's only so many sticking out for him to grab at any given time, but in the actual quiver there could be like 100, right?
Right. Yeah, I guess so. That's fair.
Like if we're in a world where we believe that Bruce Banner turns into a big green monster, and Thor has a magic hammer that gives him powers, right? Like it's believing that Hawkeye has technology to give him cool arrows. It's like it's really not a big leap.
Right.
I say all of that because I think it's a hack joke to go after Hawkeye. It's the low hanging fruit. Like if you want to be clever about your critiques of the Avengers, zeroing in on Hawkeye shooting arrows is not because they make fun of it in the movie.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like clench up Legolas is like like you're up there because I just basically need you as a lookout.
Right.
Because he's Hawkeye, he can see things.
Right.
Yeah. This is a cool moment because it reminds us like, okay, where is Gamora at this point? Like, because this isn't our Gamora, this is pre Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora.
Right.
And so she's wrestling with this idea, and it's so funny because Gamora is the one who brings Nebula into the fold as a hero. But here's Gamora, our Gamora, through Nebula, rescuing this Gamora, telling her like, the conflicted feeling that you're having right now, that you are about to change your life. You're about to make a decision. And so she kind of propels her forward in that moment to like fight Thanos, right? Yeah. To betray him in this moment. So,
This is this helmet that he wears, I think one of my favorite, like, I'm not going to actually talk over this next moment. It's so great where the three of them just stand there. But where Chris Evans is like, I can't believe I wore this for a whole movie, where he's got, because his mask, like his helmet is just so cumbersome. Yeah. And it just was like this great like behind the scenes moment where he's just like complaining about his outfit. Oh, this shot of the three of them is just like so brilliant.
Well, and if you just watched Avengers, so you remember the three of them in that forest fighting each other, and we're about to see the realization, the fulfillment of the promise of that scene. Yeah. The three original Avengers.
Yeah. Oh, I love Thor suiting up. Yeah. It's just so good. Ugh. That they aren't even fazed by it. They're not even looking at him while he does that. And it's just, he's got his double weapons and his cape and ugh. Yeah. Sorry, it's so good. Ugh. Can we just watch this rather than talk about it?
Everybody at home is watching along with us, right? That's the point. So
good.
Yeah.
We can all just enjoy the Thanos.
I can't imagine anybody but Brolin in this role, like pulling this off to the extent that he does. And if you've listened to any of his interviews, it's because he took Thanos seriously, right? Like he believed that Thanos was real, and that made us believe that Thanos was real. And I think that without that, in the hands of someone else, it might not have worked as well.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't have that much of a connection with him previously, so he very much is this role for me, because he is just this big purple grimace dude, right? Where it's like you really have to know that he's like going into it seriously, and that he is just this evil guy. So he does a good job. Because I think when I first saw it, remember, because like, I guess he first shows up in the end credits of Avengers, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, who is this? What is this big purple thing, right? And so, just, oh, look at the stakes there in Tony's face when he was, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that weird like slicey thing that?
This is nanotech armor. It changes and creates weapons for him on the fly.
I like it.
Yeah, the three of them fighting together as opposed to fighting each other. It mirrors the forest scene. I love this. We get some cool Ant-Man action here with that awesome depth of field that they love to do with him.
They both do pretty good considering they weren't in the first one. That like it's important. Like they play important roles in this second movie.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I kind of like. The time lapse between what just happened where Ant-Man was is like basically like immediately before we actually then see them up, right? Because they are drowning. But
yeah,
okay.
This is one of the okay. So there's a missing story point in here that Ant-Man rescues everybody, and then they go deeper into the destroyed complex because they have to get the War Machine suit. Because War Machine's suit is busted, and when they come out, he's in a completely new suit.
Oh.
For the end of the movie, he's actually in it's like a Hulkbuster style War Machine.
Oh, I didn't know it was different.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a new suit.
So he rescues people separate, like as a different version of Ant-Man or whatever. So it's not like this big going big.
Well, he does whatever he has to do to rescue them, but it is one of those things where there's so much going on that we're meant to forget it, because if we followed them on that story thread, then when we get to the moment where Wong says what you wanted more, them bursting out of the ground wouldn't have an effect, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
They're still
we
there.
forgot about them.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
This like Nebula killing herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen Gillan is she's underrated actress. People don't take her as seriously as I think they should. She crushes in this role. And like she plays two characters in that scene, and we don't need visual identifiers to distinguish. We know which one's which. So here we go. They're working together. You remember in Avengers?
I do remember because I
he hits him with the lightning and he shoots it back, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, jeez.
So we saw their powers interacting that first time that they fought each other, but they were fighting against one another. Now we get to see that like they're a team. They're a true team, and their powers are all going to intermingle here, right?
Yeah.
What
is this boomerang sword he has? How does that work?
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Sure. Okay. Oh. So I guess Thor gets knocked out there. I didn't really like. Oi. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he gets dazed, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's, and then we've got this kind of our reversal from Infinity War.
The axe. Oh man, it just the amount of energy it would take to push that thing up. Here we go. Best part of the whole movie.
Yeah. Oh man, opening night. I don't think I will ever experience a moment as gratifying as this. In a movie ever again, because it was 11 years of storytelling that all comes to this culmination of and like that's again a fulfillment of a promise from Age of Ultron when he just barely budges the thing. And then here we see him. He bangs the hammer off of the shield, which is another one that you want me to bring the hammer down. I'll bring the hammer down, right? Like,
He knows that it works, and it's just so satisfying to see Captain hold his own against Thanos.
Can you
'cause
please stop calling him Captain? It's either Captain America or Cap. You're the worst. Drive me nuts. Nobody calls him Captain. Like you
I
could
call him Captain.
you like salute him as Captain, but it's Cap or it's Captain America. Steve, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
There we go. This is how scary Thanos is. He starts crushing this shield, just tearing it to shreds. He's already dispatched the other two Avengers. And now Cap's all on his own. Okay.
Let's push in on Captain America.
Yeah, so Cap
on the ground.
Cap's beaten. Cap's been laid out. And it's super important. This is important for the story that Cap has to be as low as he can possibly get here. Like, we have to think hope
his
is
shield
lost.
is completely destroyed. And this is the thing too, like in that vision that Tony has of them all dead, doesn't it have Captain America's shield like broken in half and that being like a big like thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so indestructible.
Yeah. So Thanos is just gonna monologue here for a second. I was like, it wasn't personal, but now it is going to be personal. And his audience is going to show up, his peanut gallery. So if we thought before that Cap was screwed, because Thanos was just wiping the floor with him and he's all on his own, this confirms that like, there's no way that Cap can stand against this.
Right. But he's gonna try anyway.
But this is Captain America, right?
Much.
Just like with the trash can in when we first meet him, he doesn't even have to say it this time because we've already heard it once this movie. So, but it's just the look. It's right here. It's
with his arm just completely like.
Well, he's partially just tightening the shield, but he's also using it as like a way to close up that wound on his arm. To finish this fight.
And he's just seeing all of these like.
He doesn't care though.
He's just walking. Oh, it's so beautiful.
This is one of the most beautiful shots
like,
in the history of film. It like
just Captain by himself, and it's what it's all about. Oh, I love Captain America so much, and I'm getting like misty. It's so good. And he stops because he hears Sam. Right? His name's Sam, right? Okay, good. Making sure I'm not like.
And then here we go. As if the moment with the hammer wasn't good enough. It's just the hits keep coming, man. The hits keep coming. And the first one to step out is T'Challa. Because with T'Challa, you also get an army. So it's like, oh, okay, we're going to be all right. Right? And like, we need Cap to feel that as well. It's like Wakanda is behind him. And then here comes Sam, his best friend. And then the portals start opening up, and Thanos is like, okay, what's this?
Yay!
The Guardians, along with Doctor Strange, and then the one that gets me every time. There we go.
Spider-Man!
Marty McFly. Spider-Man.
Marty McFly.
Yeah. Well, Tom Holland is doing a Michael J. Fox impersonation in his entire performance. You didn't know that?
Oh.
That's not a joke. He's intentionally doing a Michael J. Fox impersonation.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's awesome.
There you go.
Groot is back.
Bucky, Groot, everybody is Wong, and all the entirety of the mystical arts community.
Like, how did Wasp know to come? Like, she was just
because time has elapsed. They've been fighting, so Wong has sent everybody. Strange and Wong have sent everybody to gather the heroes. Like everybody knows what they're walking into right now, but they all just blipped back, right? Like we know from Far From Home. See, that's a completely different suit. It's more of an Iron Patriot
that's
suit.
Totally,
but it's kind of halfway between a War Machine and
music is great too. Like
Alan Silvestri wrote one of the greatest pieces of film music for this scene. Portals is one of my favorite pieces of music ever. There we go. I love the quiet moment. He could shout it, but it's just quiet.
It's so good. Oh no, this is such a good movie. I love it so
It's so
much.
good. For those of you who want to like call shenanigans on Spider-Man swinging around in this scene, there are spaceships flying overhead.
So that's clearly
he's attaching to all of the different things that are flying around. Right there, you see him actually attached to Giant Man, but but you actually like there's always something for him to attach to.
Right.
But don't worry about it. It's Spider-Man. He's got a swing. And I love how hard it was to take down a Leviathan in Avengers. And here we are in Endgame. Ant-Man, Giant Man, really, does it with one hit. He takes out one of the Leviathans. And Rescue and Tony, that is such a great moment. Yeah, man. This is just going to be us talking about how great all of this is.
Right? You have the little one.
The little one,
It's just such a fun time.
Yeah.
And I guess the biggest thing for me, actually, I'm having these like great, like, what is it? Like small, like victories about like what I'm watching. Oh, I won't talk over the Spider-Man moment with Iron Man. Because, do you remember when we were in space?
it just, this was everything. This was the whole point for him. This is all of it. So back in Homecoming, he opens the door and he's like, "That's not a hug. I was just opening the door for you." This is a hug, though. So those characters have their that circle is closed now. So if you've been keeping count, Tony has resolved all of his storylines now, which means he can die. So we're set up for that. Okay. Yeah. Gamora, no matter what, you're going to notice that there were technical difficulties on this
this recording.
Recording. Because Amanda's audio quality is probably going to start to sound different. I don't know if mine sounds different. I'll see it when I'm editing. I love it. You missed them the first time. I got both the second time. Classic Guardians of the Galaxy. Good old Chris Pratt.
It's like a nice little like detour into a different world. So it's good. Oh yeah, hey, we're back with Clint running through.
Yeah, he's still got the thingy.
And realizing that he's probably needing to get rid of it. So
yeah,
is good. Oh, he's just holding back one of the I didn't even see that before. The like monster guy. So. And here's how Ant-Man is useful again in this episode, right? Movie. Yes.
Yeah, presumably when Captain America gets the hammer, he also gets a little bit of Asgardian invulnerability and strength, right? Like you would think, because like the power. Yes, he's Thor, a super soldier, but in the next Thor, when Jane gets the hammer, she gets the powers of Thor, right?
Which is cool.
So theoretically, she's Asgardian invulnerable, strong.
I love these little like pockets in the fight where they just stop to have little like conversations about stuff, which is cool. Little chit chats, yeah.
I like these random extras. Like
I just thought of that. I just
get to hang out in the background, and it's like, wouldn't it be rad to be the guy who just got to
just be in the back of that? I just pretend to, and then you get like VFX'd in, and it's just like cool. Yeah. I just love it. So good. Sorry, but it was so funny that you mentioned that because I thought that exact same thing in that beat with a.
I had a feeling that you would.
What's his name? What is his name? Benedict Cumberbatch. Doctor Strange. There we go.
So interestingly, a bunch of the Asgardians show up for this battle, but not all of them are going to get wished back because before Thanos got all of the Infinity Stones, he had already
killed them. Yeah.
Killed half of them.
So it's just the ones isn't it just the ones that were at that like lake or whatever? Yep. Oh, this scene is so great with Scarlet Witch because it's just so brutal, right? Like the idea, like it's comedic, right? Like I don't even know who you are, but the best part about this is that like she almost wins here, right? Like She's so strong and
if he
raging.
didn't cheat,
Yeah.
if he doesn't cheat, then she does win. She,
Yeah.
out of anybody, has the best chance of defeating
him.
of killing
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, for sure.
She is the most powerful Avenger. She's actually the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, her abilities allow her to alter reality.
Oh, well,
They're
okay, that's
broken.
That makes sense.
So
Oh yeah, because she breaks his sword here, right? Or whatever that's called. I'm sure it's not called just the sword. I feel like people are probably quite having watched a lot of Forged in Fire being here at my parents' house and my mother having control over the television. I've been watching a lot of random shows. So
you don't have a TV in your room?
Here at my house, at like my parents' house. No, I could bring. We have this great like VHS a DVD combo like big end television that I could put upstairs if I really wanted to in my room, but I'm not in my room enough to really. I don't know. I just kind of like being in the common area. The result is that I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens and Forged in Fire, but it's all good.
Got to take Doctor Strange out of the fight here
because he was being too powerful, or
just because like he could get in and fight Thanos, and that would be meaningful for him to join the battle against Thanos, right? But we want him distracted so that Thanos still has the upper hand.
Right, that's fair.
It's the heroes have to be against the ropes the entire time, otherwise it's not fun, right?
Yeah. I like Spider-Man being like, "Hi, I'm Peter Parker," or whatever. This is, I don't know. It's this sequence with all the women like he's helping him get through, and then him like what's gonna happen? They're all gonna die, and then you're like, guess who's missing from the fight? Oh, this is Rocket and Groot. Is this their first time back together? Maybe. Oh no,
that's their reunion. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been fighting their way across the battlefield to see each other. So.
And the firing stops. Nobody else knows, but
who's the only person that has met her? Has anybody here met her?
No, they
all met her. Oh right, yeah, I forgot. I forgot. Right, people are aware she exists because she came in the last one.
But there are a whole bunch of heroes who are like, wait, who is this?
Right. Hey, so was Bradley Cooper like never on set, or do you think that he came to set a lot? Set.
Yeah, he just comes in and does the VO. It's actually it's James Gunn's brother.
James Gunn? Yeah, Sean Gunn. He's from Gilmore Girls. I knew him before I knew of James Gunn because I was a Gilmore Girls fan. And I just think that it's cool that he's got so far. So Peter Parker looks so like bad here. Like he just totally
he's
is.
Rough.
Yeah. Oh,
this is good. As heavy-handed as this is, I still think it's great.
Yeah. She has help, right? She's got help, right? Oh, so good. I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow, bless her soul, is a great actress, but her like stop and look intense at the camera moments in this are maybe not the best. Because the first one that she comes in, I don't know. I feel like she just is badass enough in the suit that the like over intensity of the like moments. Oh, hey, that guy got killed. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, his henchmen all die, and they all kind of it's very unceremonious, purposeful. Right.
I think so. Yeah, like being like that. He really is just like. They're all doing better than him. So
well, we have all of the heroes, right? So anybody who would specifically be able to take down one of his henchmen is able to do it. And again, he's just a cheater. Big old cheater.
Yeah. Right. I guess because he knows what they're going after, right? And it's like
yeah, and he wants the stones, right? So they can't escape the stones.
Right.
The time portal. He's got to get.
Here's Thor. He just doesn't want him to get it. Good. Oh, with both. I love him when he uses both of the. Oh, he's so intense. Oh, they almost got it. Oh, so close, so close.
They're close, but not quite. And Cap's out for the count
with one punch.
Yeah,
there you go. That's
because he's not holding the hammer, right? So
I do like that. Like the two people that really are the closest to being able to defeat him on their own is Carol and Scarlet Witch, right? Like the women.
So
really
it's because both of them, their powers come from the Infinity Stones, right? So they are matched to. So we're gonna learn more about Thanos actually in the Eternals, because the Eternals fight. Oh God, I can't remember what it is right now, but
he's such a cheater.
The Eternals are the good ones. And Thanos is one of the bad ones, the opposite of an Eternal. That's why he's still alive and the rest of his people are dead. So he is actually like
that is Strange telling him that this is the one, right? Because he knows that he's feeling it and he's like, do it. Yeah. You know that you got to do it. You know what you got to do.
But yeah, so that's what, like, these are the reasons why like Thanos can use the stones and all that stuff. Like it will theoretically be explained to a certain degree in the Eternals. I love how hollow that is. You see, he also he breaks
clink.
The gauntlet a little bit. Like he bends the metal on it. Had we not had technical difficulties, I'd probably be more in the headspace to get a little weepy, but I'm not going to because I'm frustrated. So that's overpowered.
I am Iron Man.
We just watched Iron Man on Saturday, so that's fresh.
Ooh, nice.
Good. I was lucky.
Right? Yeah. We almost lost Rocket. But it's so, just everything. So, because it had to be Iron Man, right? Because he's the one that can ensure that everything stays as it is, right? Like that, like Morgan doesn't go away and.
No, well, this is a second snap, right? So this one doesn't mean anything for any of that. Everybody's already back.
Yeah.
Everything's restored.
Yeah,
what
he's just doing something
here
different.
is just using the snap to get rid of Thanos and all of his minions.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
The interesting thing will be to learn if there were repercussions across the entire galaxy, across the universe, right?
Right.
Like, did Iron Man actually? Did he just deal with this battlefield, or did he manage to deal with anyone who was on Thanos' side anywhere?
Right.
In reality, right? Because he technically has the power.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be I mean, like, I would think that the easiest way to deal with larger repercussions of that is to say it's just all of the ones that are displaced out of time, right? But then Gamora's still around. So I don't know, like it kind of that's for another movie to figure out.
Yeah. Or maybe we don't need to answer that question necessarily.
So we've gotten 3 instances of someone snapping, and the other 2 we know they got pretty wrecked. So
and they were big dudes, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't so it makes sense that Iron Man wouldn't. This scene actually with Pepper in it is one of my favorite scenes that Gwyneth Paltrow does in this series, because I just think that it has so much beauty and gravitas that she like knows what he needs to hear. She knows that like she needs to be brave and like, oh, it's just really. I mean, she's not even here yet, and I'm already like thinking about this, right? Like she's like, okay, I need to get Peter away from him, and like, because that's not what he wants to see, right? He doesn't want to see like a sad, crying Peter, but also she doesn't want Peter to see him. I just think it's just like she's got this like beautiful like maternal instinct, and like what she is to Tony is so important. I think in just like the beauty of this moment, that of the 3 of them, like this is like because she understands like how to meet him where he is, right?
Yeah,
it's just, aw. I'm getting a little. I'm kind of emotional, and I don't really necessarily get emotional in this little bit. So that's just like so. Like we're gonna be okay. Like that. Like like the fact that she like says this like without breaking down is just such like a cute like beautiful thing. It's like
well, she waits until he's gone. When now she knows that he's gone, she can cry.
Yeah.
And it.
Oh man, I get more emotional watching this like with you than I do when I'm watching it by myself. I don't think I even like really cried the first time I watched this, but now I'm like crying. Aw.
Even the nano chamber is toast, his final arc reactor.
Aw. Aw, right. That's a beautiful shot of Cap and Thor. I always forget about that as well. That like, you know, it's everybody that's all important to him.
Well, I think in a second we're gonna get a shot that shows almost everybody.
Really? Oh, on the battlefield? I feel like that was it was really just that core.
There was a shot a second ago that sort of shows everybody gathering around him in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
that's it.
Cut to Hawkeye's farm.
Yeah, I saw the ship coming over. I didn't see that the first time. Like that it's a ship landing. It totally in my brain. I realize now what happened.
Yeah.
Aw, Hawkeye.
But he's back.
You were saved. You were redeemable.
This is the one. It's gonna get me. It's gonna get me because this is the moment every time. Because Peter's just been through hell and back. He's died and come back to life. Everything has changed. It's all broken. He doesn't know anything but to see his best friend again, and they do their thing.
Aw.
And then we get Ant-Man. It's got everybody's back together.
Here's the over is it voiceover? The over voice of it does make so much sense that he would have recorded something like this for himself, right? Like it just like is so in place with like the in-world mechanics of the story that it's not like some disembodied voice that he's coming back from the dead and is going to narrate us out of this. It's that he's literally talking to his kid, right?
Yeah.
So. Aw. Man, Hawkman has a lot of kids.
Hawkeye, not Hawkman.
Hawkeye. I just realized the little kid is the baby.
Yes.
My brain, it took me a minute.
Nate.
Nathaniel. Right, yeah, Nathaniel, yeah.
Named after Natasha.
Yeah. Did you say this little girl is somebody to somebody? Remember you, or was she just like an actress?
She's just an actress.
Okay.
No. Hawkeye's daughter is Joe Russo's daughter.
Ah, okay. Cool. You know what? Everything's going to work out. It's not going to. Aw. I love you, 3000. Aw. So cute. What was I watching some again behind the scenes stuff where Tom Holland was told that this was a wedding when he came to it to film it?
They didn't want him to ruin it.
Yeah, because he has a tendency to spoil stuff for people. Yeah. Oh.
There we go from Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
First arc reactor.
Original heart. I did love watching that with my dad when Tony's going back downstairs. My dad's like, "Oh, he's gonna get the heart," and I was like, "Good job, Dad." Yes, he is, because she made it for him. So good. Ooh, I'm gonna watch Michael Douglas in this because you were talking about that complex relationship.
I can watch this scene over and over because everybody is a little bit different. Like Thor, you can tell he's even like a little bit antsy because he's just dealt with all those emotions and he doesn't want to go back down this road. Yeah. Strange is very stoic because he's been dealing with this since before it happened.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Douglas is kind of begrudgingly there.
Right. He's just sort of like there. Yeah.
And even the Guardians, it's a little bit like Peter.
Yeah. I do like that it means something for Nebula. Like the Nebula actually has like some pretty good reaction to him. Like you're right, Karen Gillan, very underrated. I feel feel like she's doing an awesome job. Did an awesome job in this. So that's good.
And for anybody who still doesn't realize who this is standing behind Scarlet Witch, that's Harley from Iron Man 3, the kid.
It's just so cool.
That helps.
So cool that he's in it.
Great that they thought to put him there.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel kind of standing apart because she's not really a part of this yet.
Yeah. But she's good to, like, she knows to give respect and be there and stuff.
And the man who started it all.
Very. This is such a beautiful moment. Like the fact to like have a scene between Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye is just such a cool like additional like button to like really honor the fact that Vision and Natasha aren't around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Worry,
and it's so unexpected. Like, well, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, no, it makes sense. But it just like is a scene that I didn't expect. Like it just like these two together. Really, the one thing that they have in common is the fact that they just like both lost people, right? That aren't coming back. But it's cute. I like it. Although they might have, were they on the same team in Civil War or were they on opposite teams?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. I'd have to think about it.
I can't remember.
I think they're together. They're together.
I think they were. Yeah, because they're on the same. Because she's on Vision's team and he's on. No, they're on Cap's team. Oh, because Vision and Wanda are not on the same team.
Yeah.
Oh. Jon Favreau, you did so much for this franchise. We love you.
That line when he says, "I'm gonna get you all the cheeseburgers you want," it just, man, it's rough. It's rough.
This place is so great. This like New Asgard.
Yeah,
they are beautiful.
And I love it because here we see Thor, and he's definitely like you can hear it in his voice. He's back, but he's not. He didn't regress. He's not.
Yeah.
The old Thor. He's the new and improved.
Yeah. Like he didn't immediately like shave his beard and cut his hair. Like he didn't decide to like become who he was before. He's sort of just leaning into this new version of himself a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is, I love Valkyrie.
And he's realized that he doesn't have to be the person that everybody expects him to be. He can, and that's what this is going to be about. That's what Love and Thunder is going to be about, is him going out and finally figuring out for the first time who he wants to be, what kind of a person he wants to be, and the passing on of the crown here, and we'll deal more with that in Love and Thunder, but then the mantle of Thor to Jane, I think even more so. It's gonna be a great evolution for the character.
He just puts that bag down.
The Asgardians
it's so good. He fits in so well with these guys, and that was like a really fun plot in
Infinity War,
Infinity War, yeah.
Drax crunching.
As someone who's just watching Parks and Rec, like Chris Pratt does a really good job of like being different people. Some might say acting is the word I was looking for there.
Yeah, it all depends on his director, because you watch those Jurassic World movies and he's just kind of there. Yeah. But
that's fair. I don't really think about the Jurassic World too much in my head when I think about too much cinema.
I like Mantis. Oh yes, she's not.
Yeah, she is. She's entertaining for sure.
That's so good. They're so good together.
I love that subtle thing of Rocket's eyes going to Thor as soon as Star-Lord says me.
Chris Hemsworth is wonderful. It's all in stones. Let's see. Keep an eye out. Is he taking that baseball glove back? Where's that baseball?
Oh, there no.
Not. That's a timeline that they forgot to fix.
I don't think anybody cares about that timeline. I think that Clint just takes the baseball glove back with him. Maybe it's in Clint's stuff. Maybe he just took the baseball glove back with him. Because what's the harm? It just returns 5 years
That's
later.
not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how chaos theory works.
Oh, come on.
One small change, it triggers chain reactions.
Yeah.
You don't know. You can't know. Bend a blade of grass. You don't know.
Hey, so here's a question for you.
Yep.
Do you think that he knows? Does Bucky know that he's not coming back? Like, I always, like, Bucky. In rewatching this, I get this sense that Bucky, like, understands him enough to understand that he's not coming back, right? Yeah, because that's what he says. Oh.
I think that they've talked about this. I think that they've had their moment already.
Say goodbye. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh.
Because there's also, like, the moment when the shield gets passed down and like, he's prepared for it.
He knows that that's coming. Yeah,
that it's not him.
Oh, does he get a new shield? Where does that shield come from?
No. Oh yeah, well,
because the shield got destroyed.
Yeah, but he's traveling back in time.
So he's gonna get a new shield from the.
No, he's getting the same shield, but it's the shield from a different timeline.
Yeah.
But it's the same shield.
Yeah, but it's like causing another ripple, different. Anyways, yeah.
No, the thing that you have to pay attention to is that whatever timeline he goes back to, there are 2 Captain Americas.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure, gotcha. Okay, interesting.
Because the shield is in the Antarctic when he goes back to Peggy. Right?
Yeah. So, okay. I don't quite follow the shield logic, but I don't think I really need to, so it's all good. I'm fine. I'll just watch this beautiful.
He also has access to vibranium because now they have friends in Wakanda, so they can just make.
Maybe he made a new shield. That's a good bit. That I like that logic best. He made a new shield. I accept that logic.
Do you think that Steve goes back and settles down with Peggy and doesn't save that world, that alternate timeline that he creates? Like, of course he does.
That's fair. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I didn't get that he creates a different timeline and lives in a different timeline until he gets older. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I totally just thought he went back into this timeline and has existed as an old version of him and the young version of him the whole time.
No.
Mm-hmm. He's just lived out his life as an old version of him and then come back, like time travel back to this. That makes a lot more sense.
Okay, so it's not necessarily time travel. He's just come back to this quantum address, this timeline. He's skipped back into a different timeline.
Yeah.
Because the time travel that they're using is not a flux capacitor, which travels back and forth along the time stream. They're able to skip through alternate times.
Yeah. Which is cool. Okay, so maybe it just is a interesting. That's what you meant by when he goes back. It's 2 Captain Americas. Okay.
Yeah.
It's figuring out for me. By the way, whatever they did, like this version of Steve is so believable. It's just so impressive. I don't know if you've watched the train wreck that is Jupiter Ascending, but one of the worst old person makeup jobs I've ever seen in my entire life. And it just like makes me always, whenever I watch it in movies, them doing aged up characters is just such, it's hard to do it well. And this is
they do a significant amount of it with makeup, and then they alter it with CG. So that's why this one is successful. Because like especially one of the things is like it's like around the neck, right? Like that's what really sells it as him being.
But also the hands. Like look at those hands. They're so good. Like it just I don't know.
And a meme is born here.
Is this a...
This is a very common meme, yeah. The no, I don't think I will. But that's a very oft-used GIF.
That's fair. What did I say? Oh yeah, I think when we first started this watch along, one of the things that I said is that I had just recently rewatched this last act of Endgame very specifically because I had just watched Captain America. And I just think that this is the ending that everybody wanted with Captain America. It's just like so nice because here's what I wanted. The ending I wanted with Captain America for sure. Where it makes me happy to get this ending. Because Captain America's my character. It makes me happy to see him happy.
The interesting dynamic here is that the Cap that went into the ice in 1945 was the one who didn't swear. And, you know, he was a very different man.
Yeah.
But the Cap that comes back here is the one who's been through hell and back. So it's I would really love to see the stories with the two of them where Peggy is like, you're very different from how I remember you.
But his core is still the same, right? Like that's the beauty of him that he. Are we watching all the middle parts, or can we?
No, because there's no like post credits or anything like that. We can
exactly.
stop now.
So we're good. Okay.
Yeah, although the credits are very good on this, and they always make me happy. But
they're beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stop it because I think we're done.
Yeah, we are done. Yeah. And I apologize for the drop in quality now, but I'm gonna have in our week off because we're gonna take the next week off. I'm gonna have some work to do to figure out a different solution because I don't think my Mac is gonna cut it anymore. But that's okay. We'll sort it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening. You can check out all the other great podcasts in the Thunderquack Podcast Network by heading to thunderquack.com. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Thunderquack Podcast. Over on, no, wait, that's wrong. It's on facebook.com/Thunderquack, on Twitter at Thunderquack Pod, and on Instagram, Thunderquack Podcast.
Oh, you can also follow us individually on Twitter. I'm at Akonkin, AKONKIN. You can add an 86 to that for Instagram.
And you can follow me at Arkwolf, ARKWULF. And if you like, sorry, what was that?
I said I got so complacent there. I'm so sorry. I was slow on the handles.
That's all right. If you like what you heard, you can support us in 3 ways. First, by going to First, by going to the podcast service of your choice and leaving a rating and a review and letting other people know how great this podcast is. It's so good. It's probably the best podcast that you listen to. And you want to tell everybody that that's the case. Second is by going to store.thunderquack.com and picking up some merchandise. And last but not least, by going to patreon.com/Thunderquack and kicking in with your monthly pledge of support and getting some cool rewards like getting the podcast early, getting it ad-free, getting it with the extended uncut version. Or, if you're super generous like JJ Samuel and Brian Morawski, you can be Patreon producer and get a shout out every week. So that is at patreon.com/Thunderquack. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. That is it for our Avengers Endgame Watchalong. Thank you guys for listening, and we will we'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Stay safe, everybody. Wash your hands and be kind to one another.